Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CASE and SimpleHelp webinar titled Remote Work Made Easy. This webinar is hosted by Quest and NetX. My name is Chrystal Lewis. I am an executive with NetX, a Quest preferred partner. I'm thrilled to see all of you here. I am also thrilled to give away a gift card today. We are giving out a $50 gift card to a lucky guest. And I'm not sure about you, but sheltering in place and kind of all the restrictions has made a professional online shopper out of me. So we're going to be giving away a gift card at the end of the webinar. You will have the option to choose between an Amazon gift card or a gift card to your favorite food delivery service. Please make sure to attend the entire webinar to be eligible to win. Also, please make sure that your screen name displayed here is the same as the name you use to register, as this is how we will identify today's lucky winner. So just a reminder, this webinar is for non-CASE customers, previous CASE customers, new and existing CASE customers. We discuss several aspects of CASE and SimpleHelp features that will bring value to everyone here. In fact, today we're going to hear from Zena Goshu, the channel account manager at Quest and my partner in the coordination of this webinar. We will also hear from Jillian Salamon, a senior sales engineer at Quest. And we're also going to hear from the VP of Technical Operations at NetX, Antwune Gray. So we already have a chat function that is available for you all to use there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Zena or myself. You can also submit any questions right there into the chat function. So let's jump in with a quick introduction of who NetX is. NetX was established in 1997 and has since remained a leader in customer service and an innovator in approaching the challenges IT departments are faced with today. As an engineering firm with some of the best system engineers in the business, NetX is uniquely positioned to help organizations implement cost-effective solutions to achieve efficiency and peace of mind in managing their information. And as a Veritas and Pure Storage partner, NetX specializes in data protection, high availability, archiving, and e-discovery solutions. NetX is an authorized training partner for vendors such as Veritas and others. We offer live instructor training, and we never cancel, and that's important to note. Our classes are guaranteed to run. Our instructors are also engineers. They deliver real-world experience into the classroom. So NetX is a technical partner and preferred vendor of Quest, and because of this, we are able to offer a wonderful promotion, including a 6-month free trial of SimpleHelp. And we are the exclusive distributor of SimpleHelp, which you will learn more about today. It's a remote desktop protocol application, including remote monitoring, remote access, and support. So again, our Quest partnership provides CASE customers that promotion of the 6-month free trial, and that's an excellent incentive to become a CASE customer. And I'd like to go ahead and jump right into CASE now and turn it over to Zena.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for the intro, Chrystal. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. I'm going to be doing just a light level intro for you, and then I'll pass it over to Jillian to talk to you about our CASE products. So with the recent transition towards a digital workplace, IT admins and users all over the US have been experiencing an array of newfound challenges and concerns. And obviously, with the sudden and unexpected nature of these changes combined with the financial burden we've seen, doing more with less has become more important than ever. I myself spent the last few months on the front line talking to current and potential clients about these circumstances. And I can say that I've heard, everything from frozen budgets to remote management and endpoint security issues, as well as pure lack of manpower due to layoffs, furloughs, and things like that. So a lot of people are simply being forced to wear multiple hats. So there's a strong demand for simple solutions that can do a lot to tackle these complex problems that have also been compounded with these short-term pressures that we're seeing. So our goal here today is to demonstrate how you can leverage our CASE solutions to best address some of these challenges and concerns and regain control of your systems. Our unified endpoint management and security portfolio offers ease of use through automation and flexibility through integration. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jillian so she can talk to you about the products and what we offer.
Thank you, Zena. Hopefully everyone can hear me. My name is Jillian Salamon. I am a senior sales engineer for CASE, based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I promise I'm not going to bore you with PowerPoint slides. There's one slide I just want you to take a look at, since I think this will tie everything together. As part of the Unified Endpoint Management Business Unit Group, we have several different products that fall under our wheelhouse. If we look at this slide, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, we have devices. On the right-hand side, we have users. So if any of you are familiar with CASE, the Systems Management Appliance is our flagship product. It does do a lot of the bulk of the functionality that you see listed here, providing you visibility into your inventory as well as asset management. It does provide a full patching solution, and that patching solution works off your network. So you do have the ability of patching devices if they're not in the office today. The ability to deploy software as needed. It does include a full service desk and then reporting on all the above. So this product does a very good job at managing the actual device itself. In this bottom left-hand side, we have what's called our Systems Deployment Appliance. So if any of you are imaging today, maybe you're using a product like Ghost, if that sounds familiar. This product specifically deals with deploying images, getting to your gold image, and then having that image installed on all your devices as new computers get shipped in. If computer's blue screen and you need to re-image that device, that's where this product will come into play. If we look on the right-hand side, again, focusing on the user environment, we have what's called CASE Desktop Authority. And the best way I can sum this product is if you take logon scripts, user profiles, and GPO, and basically put that all under a central management console. It does provide a remote management capability as well, and USB port security. We also have what's called Privilege Manager, and this is a point solution that deals specifically with getting to a least privilege environment. So a lot of customers that we work with today, they either have removed local admin and the help desk is getting inundated with requests from end users with the need to be able to install something. Or on the other hand, they're providing local admin because there is an application that maybe one department utilizes today that requires it. So this product allows you to remove local admin, whitelist specific applications that your end users can install without giving them any kind of special privileges. What this product actually does is it injects it does a local injection of the SID into the process itself, so that that application can actually install successfully. Today, because we are working with a limited time frame, I'm going to probably touch on these two products, but if you do have any interest in the other two, or if any of these spark any interest, we will definitely follow up with you and we can provide you with a personal demo if that sounds good. And with that, we will pull up the management appliance. Okay. So for those of you that may not be familiar with CASE, we are an appliance-based offering. And what that means essentially is we've built out a virtual server for you, the customer. So instead of you getting a SQL server ready, an application server ready, a web server, we have that already preloaded. We provide you a virtual server that you deploy. It can be on-prem. It is fully supported in Azure. And then we also offer a hosted version for you. As you can see, it's a web-based application. Everything that you see on this left-hand side is included with the actual management appliance. So we're not modular in nature, other than we just recently released a service desk only appliance. So if any of you are on the call, and some of this may not be needed, and possibly you just need a service desk or ticketing solution with asset management, we have broken that apart and have a service desk only appliance. But for today, it all really starts with inventory, visibility. I always say it makes it impossible to manage what you don't know you have or where it's located. So this product allows you to see all of your devices in a single pane of glass. The way that we get your devices in here is by deploying an agent. I can deploy the agent a couple of different ways. I can do it through group policy, or I can do it through the actual appliance itself. We do support Windows, Mac, as well as Linux operating systems. Once the agent gets installed, essentially what will happen is all your devices will start to show up here in your list of inventory. And you'll also notice that I have a Galaxy device here. I have an iPhone in here. We're going to talk about this as well since it falls into mobile device management. But let's start with a normal Windows 10 laptop. So one of the things that you can see is it shows me the status of the device. It tells me when it was last inventoried, who was the last user that was logged into that device. So once that agent is installed on the endpoint, what will happen is it will automatically phone home back to the KACE server. It'll look to see what has changed or if there's any jobs waiting for it. We do have the ability of managing devices off network as well. So if your end users are working from home today, you would still be able to manage that device, whether you need to deploy software to it or you need to patch that machine. And the way that we do that is by the agent only requires port 80 or 443 for communication, as well as any work. So as long as that port's available, so if that end user has a internet connection, we would still be able to manage that device. I'm going to go into a device just so you can kind of see the type of information we collect for you so that you have this type of info right at your fingertips. We're going to pull in the model, the chassis type, the IP address, MAC address, total RAM, processor info, operating system info, how long it's been since that computer was last rebooted, who was the user that was logged in at that time. We can get expanded hardware so we can see total RAM, how much is being utilized, what the maximum capacity is. Depending on the type of hardware that you have or the manufacturer, we do support this for Dell, HP, and Lenovo, where we will pull in service tag information, ship date, and show you how much time's remaining on that warranty. We also show every application installed on this endpoint, and you can track changes as well. So again, every time it does that new inventory, it's going to look to see what has changed on that device. So if you're trying to troubleshoot something, this can be very helpful. You know, I can see that something was newly installed or something was newly installed and when that happened. If you're concerned about drive encryption, we can actually give you the status of the encryption. And better yet, we even have the ability of pulling the recovery password as well. We can also meter software. Maybe there's an expensive piece of software that you're using today and you're running low on licenses. This would give you the ability to turn on metering for that application. And in turn, we're going to show you how many hours it was used, how many times it was launched, and the last time it was launched. We can even take it a step further where we can say, hey, if it hasn't been used in more than 90 days, then I want KACE to automatically uninstall it off that machine. And then you can repurpose it for somebody else. Because we have an integrated ticketing solution, this is showing me the ticket history for this device. You know, maybe you guys keep having this a consistent issue with the same make and model. So it's nice to have ticket history for the users, but it's also very critical that you are tracking tickets against the devices as well. We also provide you patching, not only from an operating standpoint, but we also patch third-party applications, and we'll go into that in a little bit. But this is showing me all the patches that are installed. If I want to see specifically what's missing on this endpoint, this is showing me based on the last time I ran a detect, which was March 19th, these were the patches that were missing on this device. And again, you can use KACE to push those out. If you are a Dell, if you do have Dell hardware, one advantage for Dell hardware specifically is we do provide BIOS, firmware, and driver updates. So as I'm looking at this device, it's showing me what updates are available. Are they urgent? Are they recommended? And you can use KACE to push those out. From an asset side, think of this as more life cycle information. When did you purchase it? What did you pay for it? What was the PO number? Really, anything that you see in this section can be customized very easily by you, the customer. There also is a mobile app. Forgot to mention this. So if you're not in front of your computer, 100% of the day, this would allow you to access the KACE appliance directly from a mobile device, and it can be Android, it can be iOS. But this would allow you to view service desk tickets, view inventory, push out software if you needed to. I can push out an ad hoc script, create ticket for my end users. So not only is the mobile app available to the admins, but it also is available to the end users. They wouldn't see these all of these functions, they would just see the create ticket function. And then why I originally pulled this up is because we also have barcode scanning capability. So if you're barcoding anything today, we have the ability of scanning the barcode and tracking assets as they come and go. Another thing that we do for you is we provide you an entire software catalog. Believe it or not, we have a group of people that do nothing all day but catalog different applications. And I think there's over 450 million different applications in our catalog. So this is giving you a list of every application that we found in your environment, how many devices it was installed on. We also roll up everything under a major version for you. Typically with most solutions, that's a manual process. But for instance, if I wanted to see what 4 machines were running specifically Windows Media Player 12, I can click on it, brings up those 4 devices. I also have the ability of going directly into the title itself, and it'll give you that breakdown. So I can see one device has .82 installed, I have 2 machines that have .449 installed, and I have 1 machine that has this particular version installed. We can also blacklist software. So if there's something you don't want running in the environment, for instance, I have Edge on my computer and I accidentally launch that every now and then by accident. So I can come in here, look for Edge, select it under Choose Action, mark it not allowed. If I go to launch that application, I'll get a pop-up on my screen saying this is not permitted, please contact IT. And then this is also where you can enable metering as well. So if I want to see how often it's being utilized, I just select it under Choose Action, Enable Metering. We also can do discovery on the network for different types of devices. So I can do discovery via ping, socket, Active Directory. As I mentioned earlier, we do have our own mobile device management product that will integrate with the management appliance. So again, that you have that single pane of glass. We also, if you have currently Chromebooks, we support G Suite, or if you have AirWatch, we can integrate with that as well. We can also do discovery via WinRM, Hyper-V. If you have a VMware environment, we can actually pull in your VMware hosts without putting an agent on it. Or if you have Hyper-V, we can do the same thing. And then actually show you what VMs are on those hosts. For devices like networks, printers, routers, and switches, we can also discover via SNMP. So I can essentially select custom here, give it an IP range to scan, and I can set up multiple schedules. What will happen is KACE will discover what it found. It'll let you know what devices it discovered and how it discovered it. If there's a symbol already next to it, that means that you've already accounted for that device. There's nothing more that you need to do at this point. If there's not a symbol next to it, that means that right now you're not tracking it inside of KACE. Maybe it's a rogue device. An employee is bringing in their home computer and plugging it into the network every day at lunchtime. From here, you then have the ability of deciding, do I want to put an agent on it, or I can do agentless, as I mentioned earlier. If I go back to my device section, if you are utilizing our MDM solution, our mobile device management solution, let's say James calls up and says, hey, I lost my iPad. I can go in right from here, and if I wanted to, I can actually do a factory reset, wipe the device. If it's a BYOD scenario, I can do an unenrollment. If I unenroll a device, everything that I pushed out to it from a corporate perspective would get removed from that device. Okay, I'm going to jump into patching since I'm sure that that's probably of interest to everybody, being that a lot of customers that we talk to are challenged today because they may be utilizing WSUS or they may be using a solution that requires that endpoint to be on the actual network itself or be connected via VPN. With our solution, as I mentioned, as long as that device has an internet connection, we would still be able to patch it. So we do try to make it as simple as possible on our customers. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to subscribe to what patches you want to receive. And we can make it real simple. We can say we want to patch everything that we have in inventory, or you can be more selective. We do support patches for Windows as well as Mac operating systems. From a third-party application standpoint, we probably have one of the largest repositories in the industry. So Adobe and Java are definitely the big ones, but you'll notice some familiar names on here on this list. So we're also providing you the patches for those as well. And this list will continue to grow. For instance, we didn't support Zoom at one time, but once COVID hit, a lot of our customers requested that we support patches for Zoom. So we have now added that to our list. And then you can also, based on classification, you know, if you want to do only critical updates, do you want to pull down the full installers of those applications? So you can pick and choose exactly the classification of the patches that you want to receive. Then what happens is every night at midnight, your case appliance does its nightly maintenance. It'll look to see if there's any new patches released based on what you subscribe to. If so, they get pulled down to the appliance only. We will never deploy patches until you tell it to do so. And the way that you push or deploy patches is by creating a schedule. So I can have multiple schedules depending on how many different locations I have, or maybe I want to have a schedule for my client machines versus my servers, completely up to you. But you can have this as much as set as forget as you if possible, or if you guys like to be more hands-on, we can do that. We totally support that as well. So let's say you have a monthly server patch deployment that you do. During the schedule or the action, this is where I'm telling it what I want to do during the schedule. Do I want to do detect only, meaning just tell me what patches are missing? I don't want to deploy anything just yet. Detect and deploy, deploy only, detect and rollback, rollback only. So as long as that patch supports rollback, maybe you do deploy that patch and it breaks another application in your environment, CACE can roll it back to the previous version. You're always going to have these three options no matter what you do inside of CACE. Do I want to target all my devices? Do I want to target groups of machines? I can also manually select the machines one by one. And these groups can be based on Active Directory. So like if you have a certain OU that I wanted to target, I can do that. It can be based on my machine criteria. You know, if it's running Windows 7 or if it's a client machine versus a server. Or maybe you guys have a group of test machines that you like to target first before you push it out to production. Same thing from a patch perspective, I can detect all patches that are missing, or I can be very specific. I can say, I'm only concerned about critical patches. Or I talk to many customers that run a month behind or a quarter behind. So I can say I only want to deploy patches that have been released last quarter. As far as notifying the end user, I can choose to allow them to snooze, or cancel. You have full control over how many time or how long they can delay it. So maybe I want to give them the ability to delay it up to 15 minutes. And they have 3 times that they can do it. After that, CACE is going to force that patch job to run. If any of those patches require a reboot, I can do no reboot, prompt the user, force a reboot. There's also an option to automatically reboot when no one's logged in. Again, you have full control over how many times they can delay it, as well as how long they can delay it. And then maybe you want this running automatically the second Tuesday of every month at a particular date at maybe 5 p.m. Or you can create a custom schedule. So very flexible from a patch management standpoint. We also support Windows feature updates. So if you want to take your machines from 1909 to 2004, we can do that. Works identical to patching, but we broke it out just so that you don't risk pushing out a major update if you're not ready to. And then there is one other difference from a scheduling standpoint. We do have a detect and stage. Because these updates are so large in size, like 4 gig, we can ultimately stage it on the endpoint so that when you are ready to deploy it, it doesn't have to go and download it. It's already there on the endpoint itself. Supporting your end user is very important. We also have a full service desk in here. So the way that end users can submit tickets is they can go to a portal. So if I pull this up, this is the end user portal. This can be branded with your company logo. We do integrate with Active Directory. We can also enable single sign-on. So if they're already logged into their computer and they go to this web page, they will bypass this login screen. We also have the ability of converting an email directly into a ticket. So you'll notice that I have a few different queues here, and each queue has its own email address. So if the end user sends an email to helpdesk@yourcompany.com, we can automatically generate a ticket out of it as well. A huge advantage of the KACE offering is we do not charge you by the number of technicians. We do not charge you by the number of queues. So technically, you could have many different departments using this solution. Every queue can be completely customized based on the needs. And there is security, horizontal security within the product where I can say, you know, HR may want to have a ticketing solution, but there might be sensitive data in there that I don't want everyone to be able to see. If I'm not assigned as an individual that can work tickets in that queue, I will never see any of those tickets. So it could be just specifically for HR. But at the same time, you can pass tickets back and forth. So if something comes into the service desk, you could transfer a ticket over to HR. Do want to go through a couple things here where I think that, and I forgot to mention, so the end user can send an email. They can also submit a ticket through the mobile app, or the technician can manually create a ticket on behalf of the end user. Let's say they call into the service desk, I can go in there and log that ticket manually. I'm going to go into the end user portal. So this is the end user portal. As I mentioned, integrates with Active Directory. The end user can see any critical announcements. If there's an outage and you want your end users to be aware of it, this is where the message would appear. Any general announcements, you know, as they're working from home, you know, maybe they you want to give them the ability to stay in touch with other employees. So this is basically a link to show you what we use, so we can kind of go back and forth with each other, and not everyone feels all alone. You'll notice I can also include helpful links, for instance, remote assistance, and this falls directly in line with SimpleHelp. So I forgot to show you, but I'll show you that when we're in a ticket. This would allow the end user to request remote assistance directly from here. It would download the agent, and then you would be able to remote into their device. but I'm sure Antwune will kind of go into that a little bit and show you what that looks like. As an end user, I can see tickets that I've submitted. I can see the status of my tickets. I can look for knowledge base articles. Again, maybe I'm working from home and I don't know how to set up VPN. I can go ahead and view the article. You can include videos, screenshots. The end user can also rate the article, let you know if it helped solve their problem. Tickets that are awaiting my approval. So if there are any tickets that are awaiting my approval, I can go ahead and approve those tickets from here. I can submit a new ticket. I can also download software that you've made available to me. So even if the end user doesn't have local admin rights, as long as they have the KACE agent installed on their device, the KACE agent runs as a local system account. So technically the agent is installing the application. For instance, if I want Firefox, I can click on it, do a run now, it'll install Firefox. There's also an Adobe Reader here. Different with this application, if there are applications that maybe you don't want everyone being able to just download whenever they want, I can have it where there's an approval process built in. I can request approval. It would go to an individual or a group of people where they would have to approve it. I would then get a notification letting me know that it's available for me to download. And then from a ticketing perspective, you'll notice that this page ultimately shows me different queues. And you can control what queues are visible to the end user. So, maybe I don't want all of my end users being able to submit change requests. I can hide that queue from them. There's also templates. So if I hover over any of these templates, it kind of gives me information as far as what that template can do. I'll give you an example as far as conference room setup. So let's say I have a meeting next week and I need the conference room configured for that meeting. We have something called conditional fields where based on what the end user selects here, so room setup, you'll notice that additional fields actually populate. So it's now asking me for the date of the meeting, the number of attendees, start and end time, type of room that do I want configured. So realistically, you could have one form, and based on what the end user selects, additional fields will show up that are relevant to that type of request. And yeah, I think, one other thing I wanted to show you from a process perspective. Common one that we'll get is maybe an end user wants to purchase a new laptop. I can click on this form. You can have a visual representation as far as what the end user can order. This form looks a little bit different, so it's asking me for a description of the item that I want to order, the part number if known, justification, why do I need this, the quantity. I can make an attachment or I can paste a screenshot. The way that I have this configured, and I switched back over to the admin side now, but if I go into my process templates, you'll notice I have that IT purchase request. When I created this, I ultimately had an approval process built in. So the way that this would work is if the end user submits that request, the very first thing that's going to happen is their manager is going to get an email asking for their approval. Once they approve it, I would then see it as an open ticket. So you wouldn't be bothered with waiting or hunting somebody down. You guys won't see it until it has been approved. We can also take it a step further. If it's over a specific dollar value, I can say the manager has to approve it, and then after the manager approves it, then it goes to Angela. If you want to do something like change requests within the application, we can have it, if it's a change request, I have the members of my cab are Andy, Creed, and Dwight. I can say all three of those would have to approve that change request before it moves forward. So pretty powerful approval process within the solution itself. Another example that we get quite often is onboarding employees. So when a new hire starts with the company, there may be multiple things that need to be done and different people that are responsible for each task. And I'll take it, you'll notice that HR, service desk, and facilities. So I can also bring in different departments as part of this workflow. Most ticketing solutions do parent-child relationships. There's nothing fancy about that. Where we kind of differentiate ourselves is we have stages, and stages controls what gets created and when. For instance, in this example, only the stage 1s would get created. So Toby would see a ticket assigned to him where he has to schedule a new hire orientation. And then Dwight would have to go, would see a ticket assigned to him about creating the AD email account. Not until both of those have been closed out will the stage 2 get created. Andy will then get his ticket where he has to order the computer. He will close that out, and then I have a stage 3 and a stage 4. So ultimately, if all of these things can happen at the same time, you would have them all falling into stage 1. But if in order for you to do your job, maybe somebody has to do their job first, that's where that different stage would come into play. Okay, let me just do. And then if I'm in a ticket, I think I've used a lot of time up, so I'm going to show you a few tickets that were submitted, and this kind of falls in line with what Antwune will show you pretty soon, but SimpleHelp has actually generated 2 tickets automatically into my service desk. You'll notice it says SimpleHelp is the submitter. If I go into a particular ticket, what the solution will do is we will automatically attach the device to the ticket. Again, that's critical because what good is getting the alert if you don't know what device is having the issue or having to go search for it. So it's automatically attached to the ticket. I have the information about that device. You know, if it was a server, you know, I need the details about this server. Right from here, I can also launch SimpleHelp. So I can log directly into the server from here just by clicking this drop down. And this was generated by an alert, and you can see it's telling me that the CPU usage was at or over a particular threshold. And I set that threshold very low just so we can get it created. But these are some of the things that you can do within KACE and have that automation. 2 more things I wanted to point out. When you're working a ticket, you can automatically, if somebody submits a ticket and you have a knowledge base article that you want to send them that helps solve their problem, I can go ahead, insert that knowledge base, send it directly to the end user. I can also have predefined responses. You know, maybe you're working from, you know, everyone's working from home and, you know, it's unfortunate, but it's going to be a slower response time. So you want your end user to be prepared for it. I can go ahead and have a predefined response that will insert and submit. It goes to the end user, so at least they know what to expect. So hopefully I gave you a little bit of visibility into what KACE can do. Probably just touch or scratch the surface as far as functionality is concerned. And with that, I am going to pass it back. I don't know, Antwune, if you have to take it or if I have to give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jillian.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jillian. I should be able to take it. Let's see if we can get this going here. All right. So I should be showing my screen. You should see a slide if I can get confirmation.
Yep. Good, Antwune.
All right, perfect. So happy Friday to everyone. Thank you for spending a little time with us. I certainly am enjoying this one. I love working with Jillian on these things. So she's absolutely fantastic. So my portion of the webinar is going to be more or less a teaser into SimpleHelp. What SimpleHelp does provide us is the ability to provide that remote support, so that ad hoc remote support. Say, for instance, you have your users who are working from home and they're having problems connected to VPN. If that is your method of getting them into your environment. So how do we assist them, right? We have the ability to assist those users over the internet. We also have the ability to install an agent on our corporate system so that we can then manage them regardless of where they reside. And by the way, you can manage them regardless of where you reside as well. As well as we have the ability to provide remote monitoring and diagnostics capabilities. You saw a little taste of that in Jillian's service desk example there, and we'll show you exactly how that is created. Some of our features, we have the ability to integrate within the KACE SMA. The device action is there by default in version 10 or above. You just simply need to go and make it visible. The other portion of the integration is just to simply install your technician console, and that's pretty straightforward. The tool provides the ability to not only provide remote control but also remote support. That's that ad hoc connection to maybe your home system, or you're assisting a vendor or something of that nature. We also have added a new remote work feature. So I noticed in the registrations that many customers are using other cloud-based tools to allow their users to connect into their environment, from home into their workstations. We provide that same capability. The advantage of using a SimpleHelp versus one of those other cloud-based tools out there is you have total control over your server. You have total control over the connections and things of that nature. So something to definitely look at. I also want to pause right here. In the registrations, I saw many education organizations, higher ed as well as K-12. If you could enter into the chat what you're doing or what your plans are to allow students to connect to labs for purposes of using maybe AutoCAD or some of those higher end, very expensive applications that you can't necessarily install on a student's laptop or Chromebook. That would be very helpful. And the reason for that is we are working on another solution that will allow for a lab type of access. So it would be very helpful for you to help us to understand how you're tackling that challenge today, so that we can ensure that we are developing in a direction that actually suits your needs. To carry on with our current SimpleHelp features, monitoring and alerting capabilities are available. We also have the ability to deploy the SimpleHelp agent not only from SimpleHelp, using a mass deployment component, but also the ability to deploy the SimpleHelp agent from within your SMA. And you can see the knowledge base article there. If you're a current KACE customer and you want to evaluate or take advantage of that 6-month trial that we're offering to KACE customers only, you'd be able to deploy your agents from there. Auditing capability, so we not only record the instance and when a remote control session actually started, as well as ended, as well as who's logged in, but we also have the ability to record that. We have the ability to also deploy software as well as scripts. These software deployments as well as script deployments have the ability to run against machines that are over the internet as well. So, and I'm not able to keep my eyes on the chat right now while presenting, but I did see some questions about, how can you patch and things of that nature over the internet. That can be done with KACE, or if you want to, kind of keep case pretty locked down, you'd have the ability to do this with SimpleHelp. So a great complement to the case platform. All communication is encrypted by default. However, you do have the ability to add SSL certificates from either your internal PKI, use the free service of Let's Encrypt, which is the absolute easiest method. Multi-factor authentication is also available, so we can take advantage of not only your Active Directory login for your technicians, but you also have the ability to take advantage of either email passcode or a TOTP, or even Microsoft's Duo, taking advantage of our Radius capabilities. Corporate branding is available. You also have the ability to actually share your screens out to an audience. So if I'm a technician and I need to walk a group through a particular process, I could actually create a presentation, email them the link, and have them view my screens, very similar to what we're doing here. The architecture is very, very flexible, and you'll see a slide on the architecture here shortly. We also support, not only from an agent perspective, Windows, Linux, and Mac, but we also support from a server perspective. The SimpleHelp install can happen against a Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. So you have the ability to choose your favorite. The new remote work feature is very, very easy to actually enable. You basically, from within your console, you turn on a little slider for that particular machine. You register the end user's email address, or you can prompt them to plug in their email address. They will be emailed a link to download the remote work capability to their remote system. Maybe it's a laptop or their home machine, what have you. Keep in mind, the technical staff or the SimpleHelp administrators would always have the ability to turn off remote work if necessary. You also have the ability to monitor those systems. But what it does is it gives your end users the ability to connect into their workstation, again, being monitored by the technical staff over a secured connection, and not having to incorporate new expensive hardware. You don't have to have a VPN concentrator. Again, the connection is secure, and it's low cost from a licensing perspective as well. From an architecture perspective, SimpleHelp is a self-hosted solution. It installs on any of those operating systems that I mentioned before, Windows, Linux, or Mac. You can install SimpleHelp in your DMZ, could be in your internal network, or you can install SimpleHelp on an IaaS server in your favorite cloud platform. So whether you're working with Google or a colo someplace, or Azure, what have you, you'd have the ability to install your SimpleHelp server. We communicate over a single port, right? And generally, when you install the solution, it's going to be port 80 and 443 configured by default. However, many of our customers would actually change the port to a custom port, whatever's available, 8008 or something of that nature, and just have all communications happen over a single port. From a monitoring and control perspective, as I mentioned, we have integration into the KACE service desk. The device action is there by default. You simply install your technician console onto the technician's workstation. That would then allow those APIs to be made available to make the calls. You would just simply select a system from within your SMA and choose the device actions, then select the SimpleHelp remote. Also, as mentioned, from within a ticket, you'd have the ability to launch into a SimpleHelp remote control session as well, using the device action. So we'll actually see a remote control window here in just a moment. I just wanted to quickly get through the slides so we can really get into the good stuff. So what you're seeing on the screen is what's known as the technician console. The technician console can be used as a heads up display, because what we have the ability to do is to not only let you know who's online, who's offline, who's connected in from a remote location, basically over the internet, because you have insight into the WAN IPs, but you may want to also have visibility into your servers to understand which systems are running at high CPU or high memory. And not only that, we've brought that monitoring capabilities that was generally reserved for the server environment to the workstation environment as well. So with this particular machine highlighted, I see that my CPU is spiking. So I may be expecting a call from that end user I saw in the chat, which was very comical. Although we have queues and user-facing interface for users to enter tickets, they still want to call and talk to someone. So, and yeah, the response to that, I think we all have those challenges, and you're absolutely correct. But what we have the ability to do is kind of head some of that stuff off, right? So you'll notice on this particular machine here that I have highlighted, and we're going to pick on this. You'll notice I have a flag next to that particular machine. So what this tells me, it has triggered some sort of an alert. And that alert may have some action. That alert, the actions for that particular alert may either run a software install, it may run some scripts. It sends an email to the case service desk and set specific fields so that you can then track the occurrences of this type of issue. As I scroll down here, we can see what alert it actually triggered, and we're going to actually view these alerts in a moment. We also have the ability to see the active sessions, active remote control sessions against this particular machine. With the SimpleHelp tool, you have the ability to log into multiple machines at once, or multiple technicians can log into the same machine for collaborative efforts. If I've already launched a remote control session just for the sake of time. Again, this is more of a teaser here, but I launched a remote control session into a server that is actually in our Brooklyn data center. I'm actually in Atlanta. This system is in Brooklyn. The SimpleHelp server is in Azure. There's no VPN connection between any of those locations that are actually turned on right now. So this is all happening over the internet. From within this remote control window, I have a bunch of handy dandy tools, right? These tools are very easily created, and for any case customer who's willing to who wants to take advantage of the 6-month trial, if you reach out to us, and want some tool samples, we'll go ahead and send those off to you. You just simply import them into your toolbox, and I can certainly work with you to get that accomplished. But some very handy tools here we have would be, to restart the case agent, or to view the AMP file contents. Maybe you're doing some troubleshooting or something of that nature. You find that, hey, the agent's working, but I'm getting blocked somewhere, so I'm not getting inventory. Maybe I want to launch a control panel against that remote system, or or run any of these other tools. Again, it could be software installs or just scripts. Chat functions and things of that nature are available to me. If set via permission that allows me to manage my own recordings, I can go ahead and turn on recordings here. Maybe I want to get this session recorded and to provide a web link back to that end user so that they can kind of self-serve. Or maybe I want to add this link to a case service desk knowledge based article, right? Videos, are definitely more intuitive than having someone just read the text, right? So we can definitely help them out in that aspect. Also, from a remote control session, I have the ability to manage the files on a remote system, so I can copy files over from my system to the remote system, or move files from the remote system back to mine. So maybe you do have a requirement for VPN. Remote work is not not your thing, right? But your VPN connections need an updated config file in order for your end users to be able to connect. I can have them join my support queue, or they may request remote support via your case service desk. They join my support queue. I then have the same tools and capabilities available to me. I may just simply need to copy over my config file from my local workstation over to that home system to get them up and running. I definitely have that capability. Also from within the diagnostics window, I have a little screen refresh thingy going on here. I have the ability to view the diagnostics information for that system. Not sure why my system is acting up. There we are. So I can view my diagnostics information. I have the ability to have direct access to the registry, things of that nature as well. So if I wanted to connect directly into diagnostics capabilities without interrupting my end user, I'd have the ability to do that. So I just close that particular window and I'll choose to drop down here and I'll go ahead and select connect diagnostics mode. It's popping up on my other screen here. I'm going to just drag it over here in just a second. There we are. So same machine connected in via diagnostics, right? So I have a ticket in my service desk. I want to assist the user, but I want to ensure that I'm assisting them, you know, in an effective and efficient manner. So I may completely understand what their problem is already, but without even looking at their machine. But I want to, you know, come into the processes and see if, you know, there's a particular process that is, you know, killing their machine. I can gather some specific information about their machines as well. You know, maybe they're having communications problem. I'm seeing if they're, you know, if they're actually connected to that remote system. I also have the ability to run commands at elevated privileges via the console here. I have the ability to manage the ports on the remote system, view the services. I can change the startup mode of a service. I can start and delete a service. I also have the ability to have direct access to the registry of that system, and from there I can not only view the existing registry configurations, but I can change them, delete them, or create new registry entries. I'm going to terminate that remote control session here. From the support portal perspective, you know, that agentless remote control. Jillian showed within the service desk, there's a link. Hey, I need some help. I click on the link. It has the ability to present me with a little form. Your end users fill out that form. That information is then displayed here, so I can know prior to connecting what their problem is, right? So they have the VPN agent problem. That's pretty common for folks who are working from home, right? They plug in their, you know, whatever other information. This is a WYSIWYG form that you have full capabilities to configure. And then I would just simply go ahead and click the connect button. That will launch me into a remote control session against that particular machine, okay? So here it is. There's a remote control session of that machine. Also, one of the differences within the support is that that information is also now available on the custom tab. So whatever they plug into that field is available to me. I'm going to, again, from a support session, all the same tools and things of that nature are available to me, so I can run the installer for that that VPN client or what have you. If it's a home machine, obviously I'd ask the remote user to allow me to elevate to administrator, again, because there's no agent on the system. An agent-based remote control session, the agent runs as system, so you are all set. Everything will work without UAC prompts and things of that nature interrupting you. I noticed that I'm running a little short on time, so I'll just quickly pop in to take a look at a high CPU alert here. So you'll notice here, if I create a new alert, I want to go ahead and set thresholds. I'll add a threshold, and I have the ability to look at machine resources. So I want to see, set, if CPU is running high, or if there is a process not running, or a process consuming too much CPU or memory, or even if a process exists, or I want to look at firewall status. You'll notice these are very, very simple to configure, and that's why I'm just quickly popping through them here. So you have the ability now, as opposed to writing complex scripts, to look into the event log and grab information out. Now, I know we can do a lot with PowerShell. I love PowerShell, but it's very, very easy to do some of the very similar things with having the UI here. I noticed I'm getting some pop-up on questions, and we'll definitely take the opportunity to answer all your questions directly. I just want to get through these last couple of pieces here, so my apologies. I'm not ignoring you. So again, I'll go ahead and set a CPU usage is over 90%. We'll just make it pretty easy here, and I want to look for a particular process. Maybe I have a problematic process in the environment, so I'll call it bad.exe, and I'll speed up a little bit. I'll create that. I can add multiple, but for this demo, we'll just create the one. I click next. I have the ability to sort over the particular machines that I want to alert over. So if only my systems in Azure have the application installed, then I can just go ahead and choose those. If necessary, we will leave that at default for now. And then I'll click next. I'll go ahead and add my action, and I'll then go ahead and say send an email, right? I'll send this email to my case service desk. So I'll add in the email address here to that will go to my case service desk. I have the ability to also say, the remote machine insert triggered and the alert name, right? So this can set the subject of my ticket, right? And insert. Now, down below here, if I want to, and I'll just do a couple of them. If I want to set them, make sure that I set the machine name in the case ticket so that it selects the appropriate device, I just go ahead and do something like that, right? Now, I have this ticket. I can go ahead and plug in additional information. I may even say that this is followed by an automated action. Now, I can go ahead and add another, and I want to go ahead now and run a toolbox item. I'll go ahead and pick a tool. And I have this super duper Windows script that fixes everything in my environment. So I'll go ahead and select that, right? So we're going to first send an email to the case service desk, and then we're going to run this tool that should take care of the problem. I click next again. What I want to do when the machine is no longer in trouble, do I want to send another email? Maybe I just simply want to notify my technician. So in this particular case, I select Joe Wise. He's the application owner for that, so I'll just have him go ahead and check that for me. And then I click done. I enable the policy, and I'm all set. Okay. So there are multiple questions there. We are keeping track of the of those questions, and we will certainly follow up via email. A couple of them that I saw pop up pretty quickly. Do we have the ability to run scripts within the command console? Yes, we do. So even if you needed to, if you needed to path out to something, or you needed to call a batch or something of that nature, you could do so. You could even just simply, in a pinch, just drop say a PowerShell script onto the remote system using the file transfer, and then go into the command window and run it. Or you could even highlight a system from within your console and choose a toolbox item here to go ahead and let's say grab my AMP file contents or something of that nature pretty quickly and easily, again, without interrupting the user. I am over time. I do apologize for for that, but we will follow up with any questions. Please reach out to SimpleHelp@netxinc.com, or Chrystal, as well as Zena will ensure that their contact information is in the chat, so that we can certainly get any of your follow-up questions answered, or if you want to have a one-on-one demo, one-on-one conversation. we can definitely get that arranged for you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Chrystal. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Antwune. That was great. We got a lot of good questions in that I sent to you over on Teams, so we'll make sure that we can answer each and every question. The winner of today's gift card is Jeff Wachowski. I've already reached out, and he has selected a food delivery service gift card. So congratulations, Jeff, and thank you all for joining. You have a wonderful day, and please look out for an email from myself or Zena just to follow up about today's experience and how to make future webinars better. I notice a few of you are still corresponding in the chat function, so I'll be on until Ring Central cuts us off trying to answer questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them in the chat button.
I can certainly hang on for a few extra moments as well, Chrystal. So if you want to, if there are any SimpleHelp specifics that you see out there that you may have noted, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer those for you.
Thank you. Just take a look at your Teams inbox.
I did notice one here. Does the SimpleHelp integration replace the alerting function that is built into the SMA now? It does not actually replace it, and that's from Randy. What it does though is it gives you added capability or added flexibility, right? Because again, if you don't want to have your case system actually exposed, which I see, many people say, I want to make sure I, kind of, corral the SMA in, but you still want to be able to see alerts from systems that are running over the internet, such as maybe the firewall is not installed and things of that nature, which are highly important, or an application is missing. You can take advantage or leverage the alerting within the SimpleHelp console. So it doesn't replace it. We are a complement to the case appliance. Hopefully that answers your question there. Let's see. There was a couple other ones there. Unfortunately, I don't have my Teams up. I try to keep as much resources away. All right. Can we run a remote command prompt window? Yes, you can. Does the SimpleHelp, I read that one, sorry. Does SimpleHelp automatically connect to an internal network for patching inventory, etc., without any user intervention? Yes, with using the agent, you can connect directly to the systems without interrupting your end users. That is definitely a feature of the agent-based installation. SimpleHelp does not patch, but we do have basic inventory capabilities. Is there a BSOD logger that allows us to view the drop files? There isn't, but that is a great feature request. So we'll actually note that. Can a remote user install SimpleHelp without having local admin? There's something that we've been dealing with. We don't have them local admins. They go home, so they're stuck unless they've already got some type of agent installed. For the remote support component, administrative privileges generally are not required, but depending on how you've locked down your systems, there may be some tweaks necessary there. Feel free to reach out to us, and I can work with you more on that if absolutely necessary. Let's see some more here. Take a few more. So we don't have an off-site remote support tool, and the most common problem is I deal with administrators. Okay, I read that portion. Okay, if we miss any others, again, please feel free to email Chrystal or send an email out to SimpleHelp. That's SimpleHelp at netxinc.com, and we will be more than happy to jump on the call and assist you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and hanging around for a little extra time. We really appreciate it. I love the case community. You guys are awesome. So I look forward to doing another one of these. Thank you.